What's going on YouTube? So the BMW X5 has been getting a lot of attention recently because it has been updated and is a very popular product in their lineup. But we're not just with any X5, today we're with the plug-in hybrid. This new X5 50e is boasting nearly 500 horsepower and 40 miles of electric range. So is this the BMW X5 for you? That's what we're here to find out. Now, of course, what makes this X5 50e special is the E, the plug-in hybrid variety. So what this is going to be powered by is a 3-liter turbo inline 6-cylinder with a 25 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack. Altogether, you're going to be looking at very strong performance numbers, which are much improved from last year. 483 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. Those are very, very impressive. It's good to get this model to 60 miles an hour in 4.6 seconds. And as far as the all-electric range, you are sitting at 40 miles by the EPA. Very impressive figures there. You have an 8-speed automatic transmission, and all-wheel drive is also standard equipment for this plug-in hybrid variety. Of course, what really matters is how this performs out on the road, and we will be showing you that later on in this review. While we're doing that, we're also going to get things like our signature sound level reading so that we can compare how quiet this is to the competition. But first, let's close up the hood and take a look at the exterior design of the refreshed X5 in the M Sport variety. Now, like I just mentioned, this is the M Sport model. So this is going to be the most aggressive that your X5 50e can look. And we also have the extended shadow line package. So what do those things mean? Well, with the M Sport, that's going to get you all this aggressive lower fascia through here with the gloss black finish, the big elements that are kind of blacked out. Definitely looks a lot more aggressive than the standard Sport. And then the extended shadow line will also get you that black finish on the kidneys themselves. Now, coming to the headlights, these have also been refreshed this year. So as you can see, full LED look. These are actually the upgraded units, so they're going to be adaptive. You also have the brand new lighting signature in the BMW brand, which is kind of arrows that fade in and out dynamically. As we head around to the rear design, you're really just going to have that signature X5 look. They don't really do anything different for the plug-in hybrid variant. Besides for the blue ring around the BMW badge, that's pretty much the only way you're going to be able to tell. Now, Drew's going to go ahead and hop inside, and we're going to take a look at the updated taillights because they did change this for all 2024 X5 models. We have all 3 elements as LED, which I'm very happy about, including kind of a fading turn signal design. Really nice look. Now, as we drop down to this lower area, I'm very happy to report that even for the plug-in hybrid, you're still going to get traditional exhaust outlets, and the tow rating is going to be the same at 7,200 pounds. Now, as far as your wheel choices, you do have several, as you would expect. We have the M Sport model, so we're going to have the standard 20-inch alloy wheels, nice contrast design to these. We also have the M Sport Professional package, and one of the things that includes are blue or red brake calipers. We've actually opted for the red ones here on today's example. One of the things I really like, though, about the 50e in general is that there's very subtle updates in terms of the design. They don't do anything weird. One of the very subtle things you'll notice, though, is that it says electrified by eye right here on this black piece on the side of the vehicle. Now, as far as your mirrors, exactly the same and fully loaded. So heating, power folding, auto dimming, and blind spot monitoring. Now, here at the side, you're going to come in at an overall length of 194.2 inches long. And for the M Sport model specifically, we are going to have blacked out window surrounds and blacked out roof rails up at the top. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, for all 2024 X5s, you're going to get 3 out of your 4 active safety features as standard equipment. Additionally, you can also option on adaptive cruise control with their new highway assistant function that can actually operate at speeds up to 85 miles per hour. That is new for 2024, and that's in the driver's assistance professional package. But guys, there are some changes on the inside that we want to show you before we get out to that drive. But before, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12 and 16. We may be young, but we love cars. And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, so now let's move on to the interior. First, we'll take a look at the key fob. This, of course, is BMW's newest key fob. Very nice look to this. I like the M Sport colors right through there. You have remote start. BMW includes digital key as well, so you can get in with this key card. You can also get in with your phone, so you've got lots of options. We're just gonna get in the traditional way, so grab behind the handle there. That's gonna unlock the door. And take a look inside of the interior. Of course, the plug-in hybrid, just like the regular version, is going to get all the same nice interior upgrades, specifically in terms of technology is really the biggest thing, but also some design elements. Let's first talk about what you're gonna get with your interior material and color selections. So what you're looking at is actually an upgraded seat. So this is going to be your optional extended merino leather. And as you can tell, it is a beautiful design, replacing that standard Sensafin leatherette. I do love the quilting that runs through here. Very adjustable as well. So we're gonna have the available 20 ways of power adjustment. So you can adjust things like your power thigh extension, your bolsters, lots of different things. You can also add massaging, although this specific example does not have that. Obviously, you're gonna also have your memory seats located over here on the door trim. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that we've climbed inside, let's go ahead and look at the rest of the cabin materials. Obviously, BMW does an excellent job. They always have with the X5, and it continues for 2024. Just beautiful materials over here on the door trim. Lots of leather running all through here. You have your real metal button or handle up there at the top. And then as we go to the upper dashboard, we're going to see the continuation of this leather trim with the double stitching detail. We have a beautiful large piece of open pore wood coming through here, which looks and feels excellent. This is one of the things that updated for 2024. So you have this interactive light bar, which will respond to things like your voice assistant. And then you have more of this wood that's going to run through the center section with leather and ambient lighting on the sides. Well, let's go ahead and fire it up. Your push button start is located down here. Now, like I already mentioned, the plug-in hybrid is going to be the same on the inside as the other versions of the X5. That includes your upgraded digital gauge cluster up here in the front. So this is a 12.3-inch full digital gauge cluster. It's got the latest and greatest in terms of graphics, so you can reconfigure things. I switched it to the sport mode there, so you can see that it does change the graphics on board. You also have a very detailed head-up display. They've really upgraded this year, and you can do a lot of different things and interact a lot with what's up there in the head-up display. Now, as you pull back to the steering wheel, when you choose the M Sport model, you do get the special M Sport steering wheel, nice thick rimmed. I love this steering wheel. And you also have the leather covered airbag cover right there. Standard power tilt and telescoping on your steering wheel. We also do have steering wheel heating. Turning over here to our center console, when we open that up, we're gonna find space for 7 donuts. So it is going to fit 7 donuts with our donut test. I'll kind of pull these out real fast, give you a look at what kind of space you have. It's pretty decent, although not overly large. And then up here in the front, when we press that back, that's where you're going to find another storage cubby, your wireless phone charging pad, USB, and 2 cup holders. Coming back to the shifter, we have the new electronic style shifter. Just going to pull back for drive. You can bump back again for manual shifting via the paddle shifters, even here on the 50E. When we head into reverse, you're going to see our 360-degree camera system pop up. This has all the same tricks that you expect from the BMW brand, including your 3D view. So that's always a very cool thing to spin around the vehicle, see all the different angles from the vehicle itself. You also do have the parking assistant, and you have the backup assistant. And then just press the P there for park. These are going to be the standard controls. You do have the availability to get optional glass controls. And I also want to point out, here's your air suspension adjustment, because that is something that is standard on the 50E. Now as we move on up here, we have some touch capacitive buttons, but you still have a physical knob for your audio system. We have the optional 14 speaker Harman Kardon sound system, and we'll give it a sample right now. course, overall sound quality is excellent. You can further upgrade though to a Bowers & Wilkins Diamond series if you want the absolute best on this model. All right, so let's take a look up here at our display. This is something I do want to talk about because actually, since we last reviewed the 2024 X5 a couple months ago, they have actually updated the software on board. So straight from the factory here, we now have iDrive 8.5, which you'll notice has some pretty substantial design enhancements and changes. So down here at the bottom, you have your climate controls just like you did before, but they do operate a little bit different because when you press that, it's going to give you kind of a shortcut instead of bringing up that big menu. By the way, while I have this pulled up, you do have your standard 3-stage heated seats, but ventilated seats are going to be something that comes in the Climate Professional package, and that is also going to include 4-zone automatic climate on this model. So today we just have 2-zone automatic climate. Now, as far as some other functions, you'll notice we have the home button down here. This is now the new home screen itself is going to be the map, and then you're going to have these tiles which you can swipe through for various different functions. To get to the rest of your applications, you press that little button, and that's how you'll see all the different things. If you need any more detailed climate information, you can still access that by clicking that right there. Now, in terms of the display itself, this is 14.9 inches, and as you can see, it's got that new floating effect, which is really going throughout the entire BMW lineup. Rising on up here, we have our frameless auto-dimming mirror. And of course, as you would expect, we do have a nice large panoramic sunroof up top.
Now that we're here in the rear seats, I do want to just go ahead and talk about the overall space figures in this BMW X5. Of course, that doesn't change for the plug-in hybrid model, so we're still sitting at about 37 inches of legroom, 41 inches of headroom. Very impressive headroom figures. The legroom figures are going to be pretty much identical to the Lexus RX. It is going to be a little bit less than the GLE though, so keep that in mind. I did bring my measuring tape. I'm 5'9" for reference, and Drew is 5'8". We're sitting at about 6 inches of knee space, and my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat. Now let's go ahead and talk about some interior features that you're going to get back here. So we do have standard vents. We do also have a kind of temperature adjustment here. As Drew mentioned in the front, 4-zone climate is available. That would give you controls down here for your own climate controls. That is going to be an optional feature. Grouped with that is heated rear seats as well, so we don't have either of those features. Now down in the bottom, we do have USB-C ports. We have a 12-volt outlet. Additionally, we have more USB-Cs integrated into the back of each seat back, which I really like. If we fold down the armrest, we do have some cup holders inside of that. As far as the door trim is concerned, we're going to have a very nice one, pretty much leather from top to bottom. We do have available sunshades, but they're not on this particular tester today. And then down at the very bottom, we have some bottle storage. And I want to point out, even this lower panel is soft touch plastic, guys. That is a very nice touch that you're going to find on the X5. Now walking up to the cargo area, in typical X5 fashion, you do have a hands-free power opening tailgate, standard on all models, and it's the 2-part opening setup, which is really great for tailgating. So if you just want to sit here, you can really relax in the X5. Now, I want to talk about the cargo area specifically because with plug-in hybrids, a lot of times their cargo capacities are reduced, and you are going to have a slight reduction for the 50e model. It's only going to be about 1 cubic feet though, so don't worry too much about that. 31 cubic feet behind the second row seats. If we fold the second row seats down, we're going to have a maximum of about 71 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Now, one thing I want to point out is that there are not any handles here in the cargo area to fold down the seats, but they do fold 40-20-40 split folding, which is very nice. And I did bring my tape measure here so we can measure from the back of the seat back to the rear of the cargo area. So as far as this length figure is concerned, we are sitting at about 72 inches of overall length. And then as far as the width back here, we're sitting at about 43 inches wide. So a good amount of space here. If you're curious as to how that compares to some of the rivals, that's going to be way above the Lexus RX plug-in hybrid and right on par with that of the Mercedes-Benz GLE. And then as far as under the floor, You are not going to have a spare tire, but here is where your charging cord is. That is included on all plug-in hybrid models. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the plug-in hybrid BMW X5. We're definitely very excited to show you what this vehicle is about when it comes to the powertrain, because that's really the shining spot of this 50e model. So we will be talking about a lot of different things in the drive, including getting our sound level reading. But first, let's go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
Very nice. That was just a quick jab, of course.
Wow.
And we're in the hybrid mode, so what that does is basically, you know, take advantage of all the power on board. So you're gonna start out in your electric like we are right now, but when you need all the power, it goes ahead and gets you the inline 6-cylinder to kick in.
Yeah.
And it has plenty of power.
Of kick. Yeah, it has a lot of kick in, that's for sure. So just as a little recap as to what this is a 3-liter turbo inline 6-cylinder. This is altogether going to be making 483 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. So when we say plug-in hybrid, I know a lot of people probably think maybe it's weaker but more efficient. That's not really the case. It's going to be more efficient, but it also has a lot more power than even the 40i model, which certainly is no slouch in itself. That model comes in at 375 horsepower, so I mean, you can do the math on that. That's over 100 more horsepower over the standard 40i model, and a lot more torque. Oh wow, yeah. Really good acceleration.
Yeah, 0 to 60 is about 4.6 seconds according to BMW, which is really impressive considering that this is a pretty big SUV and also gets great range, which we'll talk about a little later. Now, speaking of, you know, electric power, electric range, of course, you are going to hopefully be spending most of your driving actually in the electric mode. So we can actually toggle into the EV mode here. This is going to do exactly what you expect. It's going to lock you into the electric power, so that way, even when you're accelerating hard, you're going to stay locked into the electric power until this battery is fully depleted. And the battery is about 25 kilowatt hours.
Yeah, 25.7, which that's a large battery pack, I will say.
I want to show you guys what a pure electric acceleration is like, so we're going to do that. There's 60. Not bad.
The noises are really what shocks me.
Yeah, it's got the, what do you call it? Iconic sounds, I believe is what BMW calls it. So it does have the future spaceship-y sound effects that are going on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
I also will invite Mason to go ahead and take a sound level reading since we're going 55 here on our designated strip of road.
We've settled in at 54.2 decibels as our official sound level reading. And one thing I do want to do is just go to carconfections.com so I can compare this BMW X5 50e to some of its competition to see how quiet it is. And that's certainly a very good sound level reading when I compare it to some of the rivals. That does place it a little bit louder than the BMW X5 40i that we tested out earlier in the year, which could be a variety of different things. Like Drew and I were just talking about off camera, this is the M Sport model, so this has a little bit more of a sporty flair. You could have different wheels and stuff going on here, but one would think that the X5 50e would be quieter than the 40i model because the engine wasn't even on during that sound level reading. So I think depending on what spec you get, you can affect your sound level reading differently.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now as I accelerate here, I do want to talk about something that's rather unique about the way that BMW does plug-in hybrids, and that's that they're using a traditional transmission. So unlike one of the competitors of this model, which would be the RX 450h Plus, this is going to have a traditional 8-speed automatic transmission.
Yep.
And even when you're in pure electric mode, you do still shift through the gears. So actually, as you build up speed, you'll feel that you're going through the gears. It's kind of a unique sensation compared to what most of the competition is doing. But it is, like I said, a kind of a unique thing to the BMW lineup. We haven't really mentioned it up to this point, but we do have a long-term BMW 330e. So that is also a plug-in hybrid, it's just a small sedan. The systems are not related to each other. This is obviously going to be vastly more powerful, but it does also use the same concept to the powertrain.
Yeah, also with this model, you do have standard all-wheel drive, so they're not messing around with any type of rear drive setup if you choose the 50e model. And I might as well go ahead and talk about the range. I mentioned it at the spec dump, but if you've forgotten, it is a very impressive figure. It's actually up 10 miles over the 2023 version of the X5. If you remember, they called that one the 45e, and to designate that it is more powerful and has more range, they've kind of upped it to the 50e name, and we're sitting at a total of 40 miles of EPA estimated range. Very, very impressive. Honestly, I am having trouble thinking of a vehicle that has more electric range in an SUV setting like this, because we had a Volvo XC90, but that was rated a little bit less than this. So this is going to be one of your highest range plug-in hybrid SUVs that you can get.
Now, one thing this X5 50e has that our BMW 330e does not have is an adaptive regeneration system. So with the regenerative braking, this actually can decide the strength of it based on the surroundings. So as you're coming up to stopped cars at a red light, for example, this is going to go ahead and dial up the intensity so that instead of you having to go really hard on the brakes, it's going to naturally collect that energy, which is going to feed back into your battery and help you go ahead and make a stop in a more seamless way. Then, when you don't have traffic around you, you come off the gas pedal, it recognizes nothing's around you, and just kind of coast, because that's going to be the more efficient thing in that scenario. And as far as the brakes themselves, I will say, just like with our 330e, they're a little touchy when you're actually getting onto them instead of using the regen.
And taking off there, there's probably an area that you've noticed that I haven't mentioned yet, and that's your ride quality. The BMW X5 always impresses when it comes to ride quality, and the 50e is going to impress even more than a standard version of the X5, because if you were paying attention on the interior of the vehicle, Drew pointed out this little controller here. That's actually to adjust your air suspension. The air suspension is standard on the 50e model, so that's one of the nice benefits of going for the plug-in hybrid, is that you do have that as standard equipment, and the ride quality is absolutely superb. Every X5 rides really well, but I will say this one rides even better. It is absolutely phenomenal ride quality. I also will point out these seats are incredibly comfortable. It's like sitting on your sofa back at home. Honestly, I wish my sofa was as comfortable as this right here, because it is just nap central right in here.
And we don't have a lot of big corners or anything to go around today, but I did put it in sport mode because this is a BMW after all. And one of the things that the adaptive air suspension allows you to do is have some different drive settings. So you do have a little bit of a firmer feel when you go into sport mode. It's also going to allow you to, unleash all the power on board, because the engine will go ahead and be fired up from the very beginning. That way, as soon as you tip into it, you're going to have maximum power.
And lastly, let's go ahead and talk about your warranty. As with any BMW, it's going to be their signature warranty for your 50,000 miles for both your basic and powertrain. Additionally, you are going to get 3 years of complimentary maintenance. And let's talk about pricing. So for the 50e model, yes, it does start a little bit more than the 40i, but you are getting a lot more performance and power. So we're going to start at about $72,500 for the 50e model. Once you add in options like what we've done on this tester, plus the $995 destination, we're sitting at about $86,000 as tested, which is a pretty hefty price to pay, but you are getting a lot with this BMW X5. And if you are looking to buy a BMW X5 or any new vehicle, you should go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now on there we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. Additionally, it's going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. And that's going to be where we leave off on this in-depth review of the new 2024 BMW X5 50e. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help give us access to vehicles like this where we can show you some of the latest cars on the market, and we would love for you to be a part of our Car Confections family, so please go ahead and do that. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.